With you, welcome to the Seahawk Boys Fearless and Stupid NFL podcast. We're back again on a lovely, sunny Saturday afternoon here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I appreciate each and every one of you, as few as you as there may be, being here for the show. Well, right after I signed off yesterday, some very interesting things happened. The Seattle Seahawks made some roster moves, which I think are going to change their perspective and how they look at this draft coming up. And there are more and more hints that John Schneider may be getting smarter and he may actually be thinking about the distinct possibility of drafting a quarterback in the first round. Let's see what happens. Okay, welcome back to the show. Happy Saturday, everybody. Great to have you with us. And some really interesting things happened right after we did the show yesterday. There were some developments, and one of the things that I think was actually pretty interesting is this has actually come out a couple of days ago, and John Schneider was being interviewed on I think it was Cairo Radio, and they were talking to him on the John Schneider show about stuff, and he got asked about quarterbacks, and his response was pretty interesting. We don't actually have it, but let's take a quick look at what he actually said. They were asking him, I said on Seattle Sports, meeting with the quarterbacks, about the meetings with quarterbacks Bo Nix and Spencer Rattler and some others. And what he said was, well, they wanted to get to know these guys better, get them on the board, etc. Then he said that they love Sam Howell, but that doesn't preclude us from what we do in the draft. Now, that appears to be leaving the door wide open. Apparently, John was being sarcastic, according to Hawksmania, about not being interested in a quarterback in the start of the interview. Interpret that how you want. And I came in on my Seahawk boy Mike Barra account on Twitter and said how I interpret this is that Penix and Rattler and Nix are actually in serious play at number 16. By the way, don't forget, slide on over to Seahawk boy Mike Barra at Seahawk Boy Mike B on Twitter X and sign up to follow. Just even if you want to just trash me and rip me apart, that's fine. We'll argue. I'll win like I always do. But that's okay. Right after that, they went out and they made an announcement that they had actually signed offensive lineman Laken Tomlinson. Now, if you've heard the name, I'm sure he was a first round draft pick, I believe, or second round draft pick in 2016. He's made the Pro Bowl. He's played for the 49ers. He's played for the Jets. And he's been considered a very, very solid left guard. So as we looked at the Seahawks depth chart previously, if you remember, left guard was a problem. It appears now that they are going to fill that with veteran offensive lineman Laken Tomlinson. So the offensive line should now look like Charles Cross on the left tackle, Laken Tomlinson at left guard, Oli Oluwatimi at center, Anthony Bradford at right guard, Abraham Lucas at right tackle. That is actually a solid, experienced, quality offensive line. And Hawksmania went on to say, okay, Laken Tomlinson's 2023 stats were 55.0 PFF grade. He allowed 7 sacks. That's a lot. 3 penalties and played 1,099 snaps for his career. He has 138 career starts. 99% of his snaps have been at left guard, so he's being brought in here to fill the left guard spot. In 9 seasons, Laken Tomlinson has missed only 1 game, and because he was released, his signing will not have any effect on the team's 2024 compensatory picks. And believe me, his PFF grades have been much higher than this over the years. Now, quite honestly, I put absolutely no faith, none whatsoever, in PFF grades. PFF is a joke. PFF is out there so that geeks like you and me can have something to talk about, or little retards like Seahawks retard Nelson can have some crappy analytics that don't mean anything, like estimated yards per completion. which is just somebody's wild ass guess as to what should have happened on a play or not, or DVOA, all these dumb analytic stats that really don't mean anything. Also, again, I'll go back to what uh, not Greg Bell, but Greg Olson said about PFF on Twitter a few years ago. He said, "I see people constantly referencing PFF for assignment grades, and I am baffled by it because nobody knows what a player's assignment was on a specific play. You don't. Nobody at PFF does. I don't care if Chris Collinsworth bought it. It's still a joke. I don't use their stats for anything except kind of a general marginal way of looking at things. Now, again, PFF, this is why I don't take them seriously. In 2014, the year after they won the Super Bowl, at one point in the season, they had Richard Sherman rated as the 32nd best cornerback in the NFL when he was actually, of course, number one and basically completely unstoppable on the left side. They had Earl Thomas as the 40th best safety in the NFL. This is about midway through the season. PFF's a joke. So don't take any of that crap seriously. I think again, it's good just for general discussion, going back and forth and arguing with each other. Now, the interesting thing about this is what does it actually do to the Seattle Seahawks depth chart? And there it gets kind of interesting because what you're talking about is you're talking about a major shift in how things look from the way they looked last week. Now, if you remember last week, we had everything listed. I continue to have and always will have quarterback as our red flag, desperate number one need. I've had again a lot of flack this week. Got into a lot of discussions with people who seem to think Geno Smith can lead this team to a Super Bowl. He can't. He's 34. He declined last year. He's only going to get worse. He's not. He might be able to maintain the level of 2023, but he'll never get back to 2022. He'll never have a 30 touchdown, 9 or 10 interception season again with a 100+ passer rating. It's not going to happen. And even if it did, he's 34 years old and we need to find his replacement. And Sam Howell is not it. So we're going to leave quarterback as our number one most desperate need. Our other serious needs in yellow were interior offensive line, linebacker, safety, tight end. Now, what does this signing do to all this? Well, first of all, I was thinking that George Fant might be being thought of as a guy they could plug in at left guard in the event that they didn't really get lucky with one in the draft. And now I'm going to take that out and I'm going to say, no more George Fant. We are now going to type in Laken Tomlinson as our new starting left guard. And so I agree with Hawk Mania that it's going to be Cross, Tomlinson, Oluwatimi, Sam Bradford at right guard, and Abraham Lucas and or George Fant at right tackle. We will move George Fant back here to the backup at left tackle, although he can swing both ways. He can play either tackle spot and he can play guard. He's done all three of those in his career, although I believe he played right guard. Harris is the backup at center. Stone Forsythe is probably just a right tackle. So if the left tackle gets injured, has to miss some games, it'll be George Fant over there. And I would think actually he'd still be the first choice over Stone Forsythe at right tackle. So that changes things considerably. And also I think it changes the grading. Now I think we're moving the offensive line out of the guard position. And I think into the maybe position, we probably should look at an interior offensive lineman or even a tackle that we can convert to an interior offensive lineman to guard. And he can play swing, guard, and tackle. I'm going to leave center kind of as a need there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take OG interior offensive lineman. We're going to take that like off the list, and we're going to move linebacker up in the needs list. We're going to move safety up in the needs list. I guess I could have done this all at once. And we're going to move tight end up in the needs list because I really do think we have some needs there. Now we're going to do some separate evaluations for offensive guard and center. And we're going to call those maybe. We're going to call those it'd be fun. It would be fun. Maybe we should change this to it would be fun. It would be fun. Maybe we'll make a little evaluation there and put that in, but not necessarily something we have to do. So this improves our roster considerably. Tomlinson doesn't miss games, and let's be honest. There's another thing. There's another move to be made here. I hate Philip Haynes. Why do I hate Philip Haynes? Because when he plays really well. He's a good crushing guard in the run game, especially, and he's very serviceable at as a pass blocker. I would with Ankrum now backing up at one of the guard spots. If we could get him for the NFL minimum, I would be quite happy to plug Philip Haynes right in here. Whoops, let me capitalize. Um, Philip Haynes, Hayns. Philip Haynes right in there at right guard. And I'd be like, okay, we're good. We're good on the offensive line. Let's actually see what happens. I think what we'll do is we'll give that a special sort of purple color, saying, yeah, maybe we'll do that. Actually, we want to change the text to black or white. How about white? That's a possible signing. And the thing is too is we keep thinking the Seahawks are out of cap space. Well, they're not out of cap space. They're not. They seem to keep signing guys. So are they done, or would they consider bringing back Philip Haynes on an NFL, on a veteran minimum deal, and say if you make the team and you're healthy, we'll have a spot for you. That I'm fine with. And what that means is now offensive guard and center are off the board for day one or day two picks. When you're talking about day one and day two picks for this team, and we only have two of them, we're looking at quarterback, linebacker, safety, and tight end. And frankly, I think tight end's a little higher need than safety. But we do need to get young guys, um, loaded up behind the players we have right now. And everybody agrees with that. There's no disputing that. Hawk Blogger and everybody agrees with that. But I might also put defensive end or defensive tackle here in the it would be fun category for that particular cell. But um I think things are getting close, and now it's just a question of adding to the roster. And the cool thing about this is that we now have flexibility, not just to take the best player available, but to take anybody, absolutely anybody that we want in this draft. We can move up, we can move down, we can slide sideways. I should do live streams on my Panzer Corps videos, Eva. Well, if I did that, Eva, everybody would know that I cheat so I can win at Panzer Corps. So no, I'm not doing that. So, thank you for the comment, Eva. So I really think that things are starting to shape up. And like I said, I would be okay with giving Philip Haynes one more chance to get healthy. If he stays healthy throughout training camp and he makes the team and he's on a veteran minimum, I say let's throw him in, and then we can move offensive guard even lower on our priority list, even farther lower down the list. So those things are all pretty interesting, and they do make for some very interesting possibilities as we go into the draft. Now let's review where we are draft wise in terms of um, in terms of just what's available, who's out there, and what picks we have. Because if we go to this, we can see very clearly that right now we have 16, and then we don't have a pick again until 81. So out of the first 100 picks, we have 102. So out of the first 100 picks or so, we have three. Some teams like the Redskins, they have five. The Cardinals have five, I think. Lots of teams have lots of picks. So we basically have 2 day one picks, 1, 2, 3 day two picks, and a couple of day three picks. So actually there is no day three anymore, actually. So there are lots of different possibilities of what we could do here with this set of draft picks, but I find it pretty interesting that now there is like no crying need. Guard was the most crying need that the Seahawks had. Everybody agrees with that. And except me, who says it's quarterback. Um, but it's kind of filled. It's kind of filled. This is not a guy who's going to get injured in minicamp. This is a guy who's going to show up. He's going to play, and yeah, he has a low PFF grade. Let's take that. Let's take that seriously. Let's look at his PFF grade and think about it a little bit. 55.0 PFF grade, 7 sacks, allowed 3 penalties. Here's the thing you don't know, Hawkmania or anybody else. Here's the thing nobody knows except the Jets and the teams that have had him. You don't know if he was injured. What if the guy had a Liz Frank problem on his left foot and he couldn't move around and he got beat by quick guys who went to his left or went to his right? We don't know any of that. We assume the Seahawks checked into all that before they signed him. They're not just signing a scrub off the street. This guy has been to the Pro Bowl and missed only one start in 9 seasons. This is a guy they're counting on, and they're paying him about $4 million. So this is a guy that they're counting on to be their starter. There's no question about that. They're planning on him being their starter. Now, if they were to bring in a very talented young offensive tackle that they converted to guard or offensive guard that outplayed him in training camp, well, then they got a very solid backup for the guard spot. So the thing is that you just don't know what caused this. It could be that there was an injury and they've checked into the injury and the Seahawks are happy that he's going to go back to his previous level of play, which was well above average and at times at or near Pro Bowl level. Certainly he's been into the Pro Bowl. So we just kind of have to wait and see on this and decide for ourselves, decide for ourselves actually what is going to be the best way for the Seahawks to go in the near future. Now, personally, as you know, I'm not a big wild fan of taking a guard with our first pick. I don't think taking a guard does anything for the team. I don't think it does anything to make us closer to the Super Bowl, to get the Seahawks closer to the Super Bowl. You need a star player for that. So let's take a look and see what, in fact, how this might affect us in terms of our draft planning. And the way I look at it, I think what we'll do is we'll just do a quick mock draft. We'll mock the Seahawks. We'll go 7 rounds. We'll go fast, and we'll pick the Seahawks as our team, and we will just enter the solo draft. And again, these things are relatively absurd. We're going to use the Pro Football Network mock draft simulator because it has different player evaluations than the one we've been using, which is the Sports Skita Tony Pauline draft. And we will just let it go bang, 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 bang. All right, so here we are. The draft has gone. Caleb Williams goes number 1. Drake May goes number 2. Jaden Daniels goes number 3. I agree that not in that order. Cardinals take Malik Neighbors. No, they will take a wide receiver, but they will take Marvin Harrison. Marvin Harrison Jr. will not go to the Chargers. I believe it'll be Roman Dunze. Oluwama Fashanu, the tackle, Penn State, goes to the Giants. Terrion Arnold, the corner, goes of Alabama, goes to Tennessee. I kind of doubt that. And of course, there'll be trades. Liatu Latu, it'll probably be an edge. I don't think it'll be Latu. JJ McCarthy, the Raiders trade up to go get their quarterback. That's fine. The Vikings are not going to take a corner. The Vikings are not going to take Quinyon Mitchell. Jared Verse goes. Also, the Broncos are going to take a quarterback. They almost have to. And Feliz Fuaga. This is kind of crazy, leaving us our choice of Dallas Turner, Tony Fatanu, all these other guys. Now, the question is, do any of these players appeal to us at 16? And the answer is no. None of them are, I think, elite players. None of these guys that are left, even Chop Robinson, even Dallas Turner, are not really elite players, and we don't need an edge. You go back to the depth chart. Edge is not a big need for this team. It's something we should think about, but we still have Derek Hall entering his second year. And that's a guy that we thought was a first-round pick talent last year who did very little to nothing. So I say let's give him one more year of development, and if we pick up an edge later on in the draft that we like, that's got some speed, okay, fine. So at 16, I'm thinking there's nobody here I really want to draft. Now, let's look at our trade offers. We've got 26 and 57 from Tampa Bay and a 2025 first. We've got 21 and 55 from the Dolphins. That's the one I like better. And I can see making that trade because, of course, I have something in mind. So, bam, bam, bam. Um, some more picks get made. The Dolphins come up and get J.C. Latham. Brian Thomas, the wide receiver, goes to the Jags. Troy Fatanu goes to the Bengals. That's a good pick for them. Dallas Turner, the edge, yes, of course, goes to the Rams. And Amarius Mims goes to the Steelers. That all makes sense. So now we have reached the point where we are picking. And again, we've got another trade offer, 29 and 61 from Detroit, and we've got 23 and 232 from the Vikings. Okay, so here's what I'm going to say about this. I wouldn't do this trade. I would stick pick. But here's the thing. When you go look at the quarterbacks, Michael Penix is still there. Michael Penix will not be there. Michael Penix will not be there at 16. If Michael Penix does somehow fall to 16, and the only way that I can make that happen in my head is if I cheat, other teams are stupid and don't take him. I'm sticking and picking at 16 and taking Michael Penix. And there is probably a less than 10% possibility that happens. If this offer is on the table, I'm looking at Bo Nix or Spencer Rattler as my number one pick. I'm going to roll. I know in this simulation, neither one of them is probably going to go. And I'm guessing the Vikings are coming up here to take Michael Penix. So I'm going to reject the Lions offer, and I'm going to tell them, okay, you can do that, but you're going to have to give me a little more. You're going to have to give me 167. And let's see what they'll do. That trade's been accepted. The Vikings come up and they take Bo Nix. Oh, not the guy I expected. They took their quarterback. Now, Michael Penix Jr. is already gone. He's gone in the real world. But the Vikings come up and get Bo Nix. I'm at 23. I am not taking any risks and trading any further down. I don't care what anybody throws at me. I can't take Michael Penix because he's gone. So I'm taking Spencer Rattler at 23, and I have solved my quarterback problem for the moment. Now we're just going to bang through. Lots of other players are going to go. Let's see what we get at 81, or sorry, at 55. We now have a second round pick. There's more trade offers. I don't think those are realistic. We're not going to go with those. So let's look at what we have here in terms of what's available. We have Adonai Mitchell, a wide receiver from Texas. No, Rook Orohoro. I like him a lot. Michael Hall, the defensive tackle from Penn State. He's a big guy, big, strong, 300-pound guy. Kind of a Jaron Reed in waiting. We have Chris Jenkins, who I know a lot of people like, but let's go back again and remember. Let's remember what our needs are. Our needs are linebacker and safety, and defensive tackle is way down the list. So this is a luxury pick for us. Absolute luxury pick. So who are we going to take here? Who could we really use? Well, Braylon Trice is a good player. But you know what? You know who I love? I love because I think he's an elite talent. He's got injury problems, but this is a bonus pick. It's a bonus pick. We got our quarterback. We're going to take Peyton Wilson from North Carolina State. We're going to fill our linebacker need and get that off the board. Now we come to pick 81. We have an offer from Cleveland. No, we don't want that. Houston's offering us 86 and 148 to come up and get a player. I wonder who they want. We'll reject that. Let's call that not realistic. So we're sitting here at 81, and we have offensive picks. We have defensive picks. This would be a good time to pick up an offensive lineman, to pick up a guard. But the question becomes, who are we going to take? Who do we like? Who could be a player that we would be interested in at this particular pick number 80, 81. I'm trying to see if he's gone already. Roman Wilson, Roger Rosengarten would be a nice pick there. But we do happen to know, and this is the part where guys jump up in the draft. This is the part where guys really, really jump up. We had Matt Gonclaves in for a visit, 6'6", 327. He's a tackle. That's a guy who could play tackle, or at that size, he could play guard. He could be a young guard. We're going to take him because we brought him in for an interview. Not that that means anything, but bring him on in. And he's our young offensive lineman we're going to add to the mix. We're going to keep rejecting trades because they're not realistic. Oh my God, Zach Zinter is still there. I didn't realize Zach Zinter was still there. I would have taken Zach Zinter. Too late now, but we had Zach. Oh God. Oh God. Look at these guys. I want a safety. But I think you're crazy if you take a safety in this draft before the third round, before the fourth round. Um, we're still in round 3. Ah, I'm a homer. I'm a Husky homer, but Tavondre Sweat is still there. Holy shit! I can't pass on that. Look, he's a nose tackle. Bring him in. We'll see what he can do. We'll take the character risk. If he's still there, we're taking him. Now let's take a look at pick number 118. We got some running backs. I have no interest in a running back. I'm gonna bring in a running back. I'm gonna bring one in as a free agent, but I'm not gonna bring in anybody major. Let's take a look at our other area of need, which is tight end. Another guy we've had in for an interview, Theo Johnson. Guess what? Kabang. He goes at 118. We have fulfilled most of our needs now. We have a big break. No, we're going to reject the trades. We're sitting at 167 in the 5th round. We look at they keep wanting to. Okay, now there's no way Zach Zinter is sitting here. There is no way that he is sitting here. Let's look at defense. Let's look at edges. Let's look at safeties. Who do we like? I gotta be honest, I don't know the safeties that well. Let's take a look at size. Jalen Carley's is 6'2", 227. That's almost linebacker size. Yeah, we're gonna go with the bigger guy. We're gonna go Jalen Carley's or Josh Proctor. We're gonna go with Jalen Carley's as a safety. So he fills that safety spot. We're picking at 179. Now we're looking at edges. Zion Tupola Fatui is there. Has a skill set that jumps out on film. He's a sudden mover, has fleet feet, and a good burst off the line of scrimmage. His high level of activity in the passing lanes also helps as he chases batted passes to disrupt the defense or the offense. He'll have to stay durable again in 2023 after playing in 13 games last year. His quickness alone makes him a possible late round draft pick and rotational rusher in the NFL. Do I like him better than Brennan Jackson, who's 6'3", 264? 6'3", 264 is a 43 defensive end. I like Brennan Jackson. I'm just going to go with Zion Tupola Fatui because he's more like an edge. Now we're picking at 192. We have just 2 picks left, I believe. We fulfilled all of our needs. And now we're just going to back to all, and we're going to look at what's at the very top of the board here. Another tight end that we don't need. Brennan Jackson is still there. Let's do a center. Let's go get a center to bring into this mix. A guy that will kind of sit there on our team. Drake Nugent, the center from Michigan. He'll probably be a practice squad guy, and we'll look at him next year as our backup center. We need to keep working on centers. And pick number 235. Do I have somebody in mind? Yeah. I don't want just one tight end. I want 2 tight ends. I want Jack Westover, who ran an incredibly fast 4.3, 4.4, incredible 40 time. We're going to go with Westover, another Husky homer. And that's it. We're done. But here's the thing. See, we can take a quarterback in the first round. We can trade once, maybe twice. I think that's pushing a little bit that we traded twice. Did we trade twice? Yeah, we got 21 and then traded again with the Vikings. Surprised by that. We got Spencer Rattler, we got Peyton Wilson. What's important about these two guys? What's important about these two guys is they have star quality. This team, the Seahawks, lacks stars. We lack stars. Rattler has star quality. Peyton Wilson certainly has star quality. Yes, there's injuries, but you're not taking him until the second round. Matt Gonclaves, the offensive tackle from Pittsburgh. If Zach Zinter actually makes it there, I think Zinter's a more likely pick, but oh well. Tavondre Sweat, the defensive tackle, that's possible with his character issues. It's possible. Theo Johnson probably going to be gone before that. A safety, an edge, a center, and another tight end. That's the results we've got, and we have filled all of our needs now with this draft. We have filled all of our needs. So let's go back and look at our depth chart and see if we can fill our depth chart there. Joe Evans, you should moonlight as a sports scout. No, no, I don't. I'm not a film guy. I don't watch film like a lot of these other people do. Always very explosive. He gets very low body lean. That's not me. I just look at guys and evaluate if they can play football. And I've actually done very well. Um, I've done very well with that. So let's go take a look again at the application window, and let's take a look at our depth chart. So how would our depth chart really look after we got done with this? Well, we retracted our offer to Philip Haynes. He's out of there. Stone Forsythe gets into camp, but he doesn't make it. So we're going to go with Gonclaves here. And Gonclaves is going to be both a backup at guard and tackle. So we're going to actually put him in two places. We're going to change that color to just plain white. No fill. We've now added Spencer Rattler at quarterback. Okay, Spencer Rattler at quarterback. That's a really good quarterback room because Geno can still play a little bit. Howell has the potential. Next year, we could have Rattler on a rookie contract and Howell on the last year of his rookie contract. Bad. Not bad. I'd take it. I would definitely take it. Okay, tight ends behind Pharaoh Brown. We have, who did I take? We took the Penn State tight end, right? We took, where's my draft? Yeah, we took Theo Johnson and Jack Westover. Okay, so Theo Johnson and Jack Westover are going to go in behind and Pharaoh Brown. And all of a sudden, what was a weakness becomes a strength. Theo Johnson's probably going to take tight end two from Pharaoh Johnson. We can keep Pharaoh for his blocking abilities, and probably Westover will probably be practice squad. So, not bad. Gonclaves can fit in a couple of spots. So we've managed to improve that. In terms of linebackers, well, guess what? We now have Peyton Wilson coming in behind these two linebackers. So next year, if Wilson stays healthy, which we're gambling, but we think he is. So next year, we're only going to need one linebacker. We didn't take a corner. We didn't take an edge guy, really, except we took I forget how to pronounce his name. Fatui. So Fatui, Drake Nugent, and Tavondre Sweat. Okay. Fatui, Drake Nugent, probably a practice squad guy. And on the defensive tackle in the nose tackle, Tavondre Sweat. So let's pick a fill color for all of our draft picks. Let's pick a fill color for our draft picks. We don't want to use a color we've already used. Let's go with orange. What do we think? Yeah, that's okay. Orange, that's a Texas color. So, and we got a safety, just some random safety. Da, 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 da. So, how do you feel about this roster as opposed to the one we had yesterday before we even signed Lakin Tomlinson? I feel pretty freaking spectacular about this. And the reason I feel so good about it is because if something like this happens, we have a future. We have a future at quarterback. We have a future all over this team. We got additional guys for each level of the line of scrimmage on defense. We got a safety. I don't know who the safety was. We got some more offensive linemen, and we have a quarterback of the future. So it is not the end of the world if we trade down to 23 and get Spencer Rattler, especially if we get other picks, because there are lots of good football players here. Now, as I think about this, I think Gonclaves is a better pick than Zach Zinter, because I don't think Zach Zinter is available at 81 or 83 when we're picking. I just don't think it's realistic. Tavondre Sweat could slide to 101. So that's not completely unrealistic. Peyton Wilson, I suspect, will go higher than 55 where we took him. But well, I don't know. 55 is right on where I think he'll go. Theo Johnson, that's the one unrealistic pick, is Theo Johnson, the tight end. Getting him in the third or fourth round. 118 is still the third. That's not going to happen. So, all right. So that is kind of where we're at. I think we definitely have some exciting news here with the signing, because what the signing of Lake and Tomlinson does is it creates a snowball effect where there's now a distinct possibility that we can get a quarterback or even trade down a little bit and get a quarterback. The trading down gets us the extra picks to get guys like Peyton Wilson. Well, what if we don't get a second round pick and we can't get Peyton Wilson at 55 because we don't have 55? What if Penix comes to 16, which is possible? Like I said, less than 10% chance. But what if he does? Then we don't have a second round pick. How do we fix linebacker? Okay, I like Tommy Eichenberg a lot, so I could take him in the third or fourth round. I like him a lot. Peyton Wilson just stands out because of his incredible athletic ability. Why is the right side of the offense deeper than the left side, Joe? Because we're right-handed. Our football teams tend to be right-handed. You got the extra tight end on that side. That's why. So, you know, 2 weeks ago, I would have given you a 20% chance that John Schneider was going to draft a quarterback high, first pick or second pick. Last week, yesterday, I would have given you a 30% chance that that's what they were up to. Today, after the Lake and Tomlinson signing, I'm thinking it's 50-50. I'm thinking if one of the three guys, if Nix, Penix, and Rattler are there, that's the plan. That's who they're going for. That's who they're going to take, whether it's Rattler or Nix. I think if they trade down, they're going to get jumped for Bo Nix. But Rattler should be there. Now, I personally don't think Rattler gets past 33, the first pick in the second round. I think the Raiders come up and get him if they haven't taken a quarterback in the first. But that's okay with me, because if they haven't taken a quarterback in the first, that might mean that Michael Penix survives to the Seahawks at 16. Okay, that's what I got. That's what I think. And by the way, for those of you who might be upset or think to yourselves, well, wait a minute. How can we have all these quarterbacks on the roster? And won't that be really, really, really expensive? Well, I mean, the truth is actually The truth is actually no. The truth is that I got to stop that and reshare. Uh, if you look at the Seahawks cap situation, according to Over the Cap, um, the Seahawks could cut Geno Smith if they wanted to post June 1, and they would get hit with a massive $13.3 million salary cap hit, which they could not afford. So Geno Smith is going to be on the roster this year. But if they trade him and give it a post June 1 designation, they actually save 12 million, $13 million under the cap. That number right there, pays for their rookie. Their whole rookie cap is right there, and some of their free agency, which you don't actually have to reserve. The rookie pool and free agency, everybody always talks about that as like effective cap space. Well, free agency, which is for injured reserve folks, that only happens if you get injured players. And you can, there's always ways to make cap space. And then it pumps our 2025 cap up to 28 million. But let's say realistically, that's not going to happen. We're not going to start Rattler. Howell has to be uncoached of a lot of bad habits before he can be recoached into a good quarterback, good backup quarterback, which is all he will really be. And that I think is what John Schneider's actually telling you. When he says, we like Sam Howell, but we're not going to let that stop us from taking a quarterback. What he really means is Howell's future in the NFL is as a backup, not as a primary starter. So that's pretty clearly not the case. But let's say when we get to 2025 and Geno's cap number is then 38.5 million and Rattler's ready to play, we're just going to cut him. We're going to save 25 million under the cap, and there's that magic number again, 27,992,332. Make one other cut. You cut Draymond Jones. Suddenly you got 45 million in cap space almost. So we're in good shape, and I think Geno realistically is going to be the quarterback this year, at least to start with. But we'll have to wait and see what happens after all that. But don't be concerned about cap space for the quarterback position. We won't have very much invested in it at all, even with Rattler's rookie contract and even with it being a first-round contract. So rookies get paid 13 million. That's not true. It depends on what slot they're in, Joe. And how much do returning retired players get? I don't know, but I don't understand that question quite. But anyway, thank you guys for being here. Thanks for watching it. Leave comments below. I'll try to come in and answer them no matter how disparaging they are, because in the end, I think you're going to find out I'm right and you're wrong. And there is no advantage. There's no point in the Seahawks spending a first-round pick on another position player. They've now spent 4 first-round picks in the last 2 years on position players and none on quarterbacks. Let's just go get a quarterback and give the team a chance to get ahead. All right. Thanks for being here. I appreciate once again each and every one of you guys for being here. And I will see you next time, whenever that is, whenever I get the mood to talk about something that's going to piss a lot of other Seahawk fans off because they're delusional and they think that Geno Smith is not a unicorn.